we're back on my Let's Chat segment, and today we are going to be talking about people behind their backs, which is why I brought in my best friend from high school, and she is named
Jade.
Yeah. So let's talk about talking about people behind their backs. So basically, in high school and now, people have been talking about us behind our backs for like insane periods of time, and also like just constantly. And I don't know why it happens. We're not bad people or anything, but they seem to think that we are just the worst. So between the time periods of now and when we were in high school, have you noticed any difference with how you react to being talked about or hearing that you were talked about behind your back?
Yeah. I mean, as in high school, I was the kind of person who isolated myself. If somebody was talking behind my back and I heard rumors circulating about myself, I would have a tendency to inspect every single one of my friendships, because I already didn't have that many. So I would inspect everything that I could figure out about what this person might say about me, what reason they might have to say it about me, all these different things. I would try to find a reason or who it was. And it took so much energy that it wasn't worth it. Nowadays, if somebody is talking about me behind my back, I'm far less inclined to actually give a shit, forgive my language, but I live on my own now. I have other much more important things to concern myself with than people who are talking about me behind my back. However, there are bigger issues also with being an adult. If somebody else is an adult and talking about your back, this kind of thing could cost you your job now. It could cost you a lot more than just your high school reputation. And that's why it is a big freaking problem, and why I personally just believe it needs to stop.
I think that, at least in my life, I've realized that when I was in high school, it ruined a lot of my friendships. But at the same time, those friendships wouldn't have been worth maintaining. I probably wouldn't still be friends with those people. So, you know, the people who did hear stuff about me, like you, who are still my friend, that says a lot. You know me better than the rumors, and quite frankly, at this point in my life, it's just childish. Talking about people behind their backs is very childish. If somebody has some kind of problem with me, I would much prefer they talk to me about it, because I'm not a bad person, you're not a bad person.
Right.
We're not gonna get confrontational. We will just sit there and we will say, okay, what's your problem? Let's talk about it like adults. But some people, despite their age, choose to not be adults.
Oh yeah, and the problem with being childish, like I said, if you're going to be childish as an adult, you're going to make real-world consequences that are going to hurt a person. If that person has moved on and now has a family and they have children to feed, and your crap that you're spreading costs them their job, now their children are suffering as well.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of thing needs to stop in middle school, honestly, but it goes on to high school. It shouldn't ever happen outside of school if it's going to be stuck happening anyway.
Exactly. Like, if you are working, that is not a time to be talking about people behind their backs. If you talk about people behind their backs in a setting where it could do permanent damage to them, their relationship, their friendships, their job, any of that, it's just completely inappropriate. In fact, it's very childish and very inappropriate to even be saying to somebody, oh my gosh, there's this girl, Bridget, and I hear she's such a slut, and, you know, she slept with like 50 guys, and like...
She's an adult. That's her choice.
Exactly.
It's got nothing to do with you.
You know what? If you have a problem with what she's doing, then first off, go talk to her. Tell her that you have a problem with what she's doing.
Or, you know, grow the fuck up and realize that her personal choices in her life have absolutely no standing with you.
Exactly. It shouldn't affect you at all. So, and if there is a problem that does affect you, then talk to her about it. Don't go and say to Joe and Jack that she's such a slut and they should never talk to her again, because maybe she's not. Like,
Right, and maybe one of them's dating her and you don't know it, and now you've just trashed the relationship.
Exactly.
So thanks.
Don't talk about people behind their backs. It is childish. And if you're being talked about behind your back, which is the main point of this video, realize that because people say things about you doesn't mean they're true, and it doesn't mean you should feel like any less of a person. And if somebody says, hey, I heard this about you behind your back, and when you say it's not true, they say, well, I don't believe you, then they probably shouldn't be in your life anyway.
Yeah, you don't need negativity or any kind of people that are going to try to control you or even base their opinion of you off of what others say in your life. And then I had something else I wanted to add to that, actually.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. I'm upset about this.
Jade, everyone.
Time. It was something about the fact that you as a person, your value doesn't stem from what others think of you. And everything that you have to do with your job, with anything else, if anything they're saying is affecting your job, if you feel like, if you're aware of one of these changes possibly happening, go to your boss. Go to whoever is being affected by these rumors that might affect your life. Talk through it with them before it hits the fan, before anything happens. Don't just let people do that. But also, to respond aggressively is not the way to do it either.
Absolutely.
Just be who you are. Be happy with who you are. And realize that your value starts and ends with what you make of it. It has nothing to do with anybody else. No matter who they are, parents, lover, it doesn't matter. In the end, your value as a person is your own. And nobody in the world can take that from you.
Yep. Just prove them wrong by being your awesome self. You don't need to be confrontational. You can just be you. Just keep being amazing and ignore the others. They're childish. They're children. They don't seem to know better yet. So realize that you're worth quite a bit more than that, and don't do it yourself. You might not even realize the damage that you're doing to somebody else, because I know that because of things that were spread about me and things that were spread about Jade, we have been traumatized and permanently affected by those things. And we are still suffering the effects of it. And I think we, as, like young adults, have kind of gotten past it a little bit more, but the effects are still kind of there. So just be careful what you say about somebody, even if you're saying it to their face. Try to be friendly and just be supportive of each other. Don't talk about each other behind your backs.
And basically just always be respectful. There's no reason to talk about someone behind their back. There's no reason to trash talk someone. Respect is where everything begins and ends. And also remember that if you want to prove them wrong and empower yourself, excellent. But also remember that you don't have to prove them wrong to feel good either.
You don't.
As long as you focus on yourself, focus on what's important in your life, ultimately that is far more important than anything that this other person thinks of you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we will see you again soon. And don't talk about people behind their backs. You're not a child.